Get down.
Let me clear my throat. Yeah, that's better. That's better. Somebody pass around the offering. Since I'm always preaching on tracks, you feel me? I might as well get paid for it. Sermon of the day. You right where you supposed to be, baby. Informant, that information for me. Important, you get a portion of fortune pouring. Confession, fortunately, blessings on now they snoring. You mellow, so focus on scoring. Got your underperforming. I never expect something, never assume nothing. Judging me for my past, but that's why I'm triumphant. I don't demand, I know where I stand like engineer hands. Watch how my life pans. That game plan, show out like a jotter, pop out like a cutter. Telling the click rock, skipping the cross, squares like hopscotch. This gonna be my mood to my beat drop. Putting my boogie shoes and my diddy boots, ain't don't stop. I'ma make the rest of my life live. Yeah, I'ma make the rest of my life live. Gonna make the rest of my life the best of my life. Yeah, I'ma make the rest of my life live. I'ma make the rest of my life live. Gonna make the rest of my life the best of my life. Congratulations on the celebration. I know I'm dope without a need of a validation. No congratulations on no celebration. I know I'm dope without a need of a validation. Yeah. If having hope is dangerous, call me evil Knievel. You leading on the wrong side, living with pens and needles. So lethal, made Shane Black wanna write a sequel. Cause I snuggle my dream till it's seen as illegal. And I still probably will, cause I can never give up. I got my goals calling me, how could I?
Happy Thursday, everybody. How y'all doing? How y'all doing? Welcome in, everyone. How's your week been? I am glad that we are here. Just one more again. So, I hope everyone is having an amazing week. Can y'all hear me? Can you hear me now? Okay, cool. All right. So, sorry, y'all. You know, sometimes we have little technical difficulties. And so, comes with the territory, right? It is what it is, and we work through it. So anyway, y'all, happy Thursday. Welcome to the Bravo with Sheila Network. Thank you for allowing us into your living rooms or your car or wherever it is that you may be tuning in, watching us, taking part in this conversation from. We appreciate you sharing your space, and you are always welcome to be all up in ours. Matter of fact, we encourage it. So please, man, please, sir, if you don't mind, when you enter in, just hit that thumbs up button just one time for the one time. We greatly appreciate it. It helps us to get out into these YouTube streets, letting them know that we're doing what we're supposed to be doing. And then they do help us do what we're supposed to do, right? So we appreciate that. So on tonight, I am excited. I know y'all thought I was going to go there, right? It's too soon. I'm not ready yet. You know, we got to do all the house rules and all the things and all of that out of the way so that, you know, when it's time, we could just roll like we roll. So I am your Thursday night host, Lady Dawn B, as you all know, your favorite girl. And I'm glad to be back here with you one more time. Listen, it is post-Valentine's Day. And I hope that your weekend was great. I hope that those of you that are booed up, coupled up, all of the ups that there are, that you all loved on each other in an amazing way, and that you had a great time enjoying one another. For those of you who may be of the single persuasion, okay, there's nothing wrong with that. Love is love. I hope you loved on yourself, and I hope that you enjoyed your Valentine's Day. Because the truth of the matter is, if you don't love on yourself first, no one else will ever be able to do so. So I encourage you to do that first. Why? Because when you love on yourself, you teach other people how to love you. How about that? There you go. So welcome in tonight. I'm excited about this conversation because we got our men in the building. And, you know, we haven't had a men's lounge in a while. But, you know, while February is the month of love, I wanted to kind of pause because everybody said Valentine's Day is for the women, it's for the ladies, and men don't get nothing. You know, they don't get treated. They don't get, it's disrespectful. You know, all they get to do is pay the bill. It comes out of their pocket and all those things like that. So tonight I wanted to pause because, I had to think about that. And oftentimes that is true. Quite often It is the women who receive the most or receive period on Valentine's Day. Plans are made according to what the woman wants, likes, needs, all of those things. But truth be told, it should be a couple's venture. It should be a time where we are sharing space and creating moments that are impressionable and impactful to both men and women. But I also realize that sometimes, ladies, maybe we're not handling our men right or handling our men with care because we may not even know what they really want. Did you ever think about that? Sometimes we presuppose and, I don't want to say assume, but we presuppose what they want or what their needs are. Sometimes we tell them how they're feeling or what's in their heart. And, and I even said it on the little promo that I did that sometimes, my thoughts, my ideals of what's in a man's heart can possibly be a little jaded sometimes. I could be very wrong. Could be. Not often. Not saying that. It's a possibility that it could be. So tonight, our conversation topic is the heart of a man. And so, our amazing men here on Thursday night with Lady Dawn B on the Bravo Show Network, they are going to come and share. And it's not like you've never heard them speak before. It's not like, you know who they are, but wanted to give them space to really be able to dialogue with us. So women, I need you to lean back and lean in, get your pen and your paper, okay? And we are listening tonight from spaces to understand, not to defend. We, as you know, over here, this is safe space, so we don't come in to convict or convince anyone. We come to have conversation and dialogue that will allow us to grow, that will allow us to be better partners to the people in our lives, in all type of relationships, and most of all, so that we can improve relationships with each other. But the most important one is the relationship with yourself. Okay, when I'm the best version of me, I show up better in spaces. When I understand what the people in my life may want or need from me, it is easier for me to determine whether I can be that, and how I want to show up being that for them. And with all this conflict that still goes on between men and women these days, listen, we got to pause and reset. Because if everybody's healing and everybody is doing and everybody is wanting and everybody's on the good foot, then why so many of us still single? Let's try to find a way to break down those barriers so that more of us can come together and engage in beautiful relationships. So, with that being said, as you know, here on the Bravo Sheila Network, we are not a Christian-based network. However, most of us on the panel are believers. I am. So when we are speaking from our well of experience in our life journey. Okay, while some of us do hold, we are licensed, legal, certified, all of that, counselors, therapists, life coaches, all of those things. When we come to talk here, it's not counseling session. We just come to have conversation. We keep it real here. We have real talk with real people for real resolutions. So with that being said, everyone's thoughts, feelings, and opinions are always welcome here. Whatever your moral compass is, you are welcome to share. Our number one rule and pretty much only rule is respect. Respect. And that is we engage with each other respectfully. We do not have to agree. We can disagree. It's okay if we disagree. That's perfectly fine. But we have to do so respectfully. We are not attacking anyone's thoughts or beliefs. We're just mindful of how we are engaging, how we are verbalizing the things that we want to share. And we are respecting each other in our opinions. And as you know, we always cut up at some point, right? So that's just typical. So with that being said, again, welcome in everyone. My moral compass, I'm a God's girl, so you're going to get a little Jesus every time you get me. That's right. And so again, respect is always to be shown in the comments and on the panel. And in the event that is not shown or displayed, unfortunately, we have our wonderful moderator who also doubles as security, the lady in Kenya, the greatest moderator to ever do it in these YouTube streets. There she goes. She says, hey, Bravo with Sheila Network. She says, hey, Dawn B. Hi, beautiful. Thank you for being here on your post per usual. We couldn't do what we do without you, so we're glad to see you. So she will escort you gently but a little sternly outside because we want to keep the integrity and character of our show. So, all that being said and all that out of the way, now it's time for us to get into our conversation. Are y'all ready? I am ready and I am excited. So, you know how we do it. This is one of our squad members' favorite time. So, on tonight, on this very mic, I think it's our whole team. So before the year is over, I promise you, y'all gonna be saying it with me. I promise you, you will. Okay, y'all know what we doing. Y'all ready? Okay, here we go. So tonight, on this very mic, you're about to hear, I swear, the best podcast of the year, who is nominated for BB Online Award Podcast of the Year, by the way. So cheerio, y'all scream what? Bravo! Also, if you didn't know, this is Dawn B and the Squad Show. It's what we do. Come on, give it up, somebody. I love it. Y'all gonna get it all year long. All year long. I promise you. I might even add some more words to it. I might, by the time it's all over, I might have a whole new song. I'm not sure. But anyway, y'all, we're gonna get into this amazing conversation and we're gonna talk about the heart of a man. Ladies, lead in. Please engage respectfully and welcome to the platform. Y'all know him. Y'all love him. He's the reason why we have a disclaimer. And we just appreciate his presence on tonight. You never know what Dr. Seuss, the Wiz analogy he's going to come up with, but you know it's going to be something good or biblically referenced. He is Sir Eric. He is in the building. What's poppin', E? How are you?
Nothing much. How are you?
I'm good. How you doing, sir?
Extremely tired, exhausted, in pain, but I'm alive.
Well, that's a cheery way to start the night. We appreciate you being here. Thank you. Try not to transcend while you're here. We don't, because you know, we just.
I'm good.
Okay, I'm just, you know, if you need medical assistance, you know, put your finger up or something. Give us some signal, you know, so we can send someone to be at your aid. But thank you for being here, Cherry Sunshine. You are welcome. And you know him, you love him. He is the voice that makes you think even when you don't want to. That's right. He is formerly but still presently author AJW, the poet, but we now call him the coach. Mr. Courageous Vulnerability, Justin Wilson's in the building, so you know it's about to go down. What's popping, bro?
Hey, what's going on, sis? Hey, good brother Eric, how you?
All right, yourself?
I'm here, man. I'm happy to be here.
I was going to say, Lord, don't ask him how he's doing again. Please don't ask him again how he's.
I get it.
You know, we want to keep our energy up today. So also, you know what? I'm just going to bring her up. I know this is the men's conversation, but we're just going to even some odds tonight, but we're going to let the men share. And we promise we're going to be good and we're going to behave, but we're going to engage. You know her. You love her. I always say America has their sweetheart, and all of here on the Bravo with Sheila Network, we have ours. And she is always dropping gems, jewels, and nuggets for you to pick up. So I hope that you are picking them up and holding them in your pockets until it is time for them to be used. She is the amazing, the incomparable, the phenomenal, our coach Theo. My sis is here also on tonight. Hey sis, how are you?
Hey, hi everybody.
Coach, how are you?
Eric, I'm sorry you're not feeling well.
Thank you. I'm all right, though. I'll be all right.
Yes, you will. Yes, you will. You will be just fine. So thank you for coming in tonight and thank you for joining us. And look who else is in the building. We have my sis, the beautiful, the juggling mommy, also known as Nero. Hey sis, how are you? Welcome in. Thank you for joining us on tonight. And family, if you don't mind, please, ma'am, please, sir, just hit that thumbs up button on your way in. Just like that. It is free 99 for you, but it means everything to us. And if you don't mind, share it with someone, share this live with someone, and let us be what was I gonna say? I totally lost my train of thought. Anyway, y'all, if you just share it with somebody, I appreciate it. Okay. All right. So on tonight, I'm not gonna do it again, although I felt like it. I felt like I was. I felt like it was stirring up in my soul. Like I felt like y'all needed to hear it one more time. But tonight in our conversation, we want to talk about the heart of a man. Now, Valentine's Day just passed. And I know we have heard that, again, as I said earlier, that Valentine's is typically a day that is geared towards the women and, just another holiday that is female based, pretty much. And so our men sometimes don't always have the opportunity to be loved on and to be appreciated and to, be celebrated. So tonight, I wanted to kind of tap into that from the male perspective because it's really, I think, a heart thing. And sometimes I find that we as women, again, we may presuppose certain things. We may have our own ideology about what really is in the content of a man's heart, and we keep having certain conversations. But I think that until we have a conversation that sticks in people's head, and prompts action, that we're going to continue to have these until we get there. But we want the men's voices to be heard. So before we start, just want to greet some more people. Look who's in the building. Without Warning Media is in the house. What's up, E? Welcome in. Thank you for joining us. He says, peace, family. E, funny thing is, I thought about reaching out to you because I figured you might want to be a part of this conversation on this side of the wall. You
side of the wall.
Huh?
I invited him on this side of the wall.
Oh, okay. Well, very good. Very good. Because it's men's night. We want to hear about really what's in the heart of men. Let's see. And we got my sis, Lily. I'm just a girl. The diva is in the building. I miss hearing you, sis. I thought about you the other day, and I miss hearing her say, Miss Lady Dawn. That's my little sis. Love you so much. She says, hello, Miss Carter. She said, I guess I'll say hi to Mr. Sir. Okay.
Good evening, Lily. How are you?
All right. Okay. So let's get into this conversation. Now, what I don't want it to be, because maybe, because I got some questions, y'all. I'm trying to do better. I'm trying to do better. I'm trying to be, not be right, but get it right. So I realize, at this seasoned age that maybe, my perceived thoughts of how a man's heart operates might be a little askew. So if we ask some basic questions, what I don't want we're really asking from a place of wanting to know, not from the space of, well, how do women feel about it? Or how would you feel, as a woman? Like, all things are not the same with men and women. We're actually listening. We're actually asking because I really want to hear from the men and for you to speak so that we understand really how your hearts operate. We know that the perception or ideal of a man is to provide and, to be the strength, and it's always service oriented. So sometimes your hearts get overlooked, quite often overlooked. I was having a conversation with someone earlier, matter of fact, and I was saying how some men don't know how to sit in a moment of being served because it's never happened. So we as women have to figure out a way to make that comfortable for you so that you can learn how to receive being loved on from the emotional space. So Do y'all agree, disagree? Share your thoughts on being able to receive that kind of love emotionally from women. Like, what does that look like for you? And we know that we're not speaking, it's not one size fits all. This is not one voice, one sound. Everyone is sharing from their space of experience. So everyone, please, it's not in black and white. We are having conversations so that we can open up and maybe learn another perspective, see something from a different angle, and hear it from the men's mouth themselves. So, Justin, what say you?
Yeah, I think that I want to make sure I'm repeating. Could you could you restate the question just so that I'm making sure I'm responding to specifically what you asked?
Sure. I'm referring to, I wanted to start a conversation from the space of how men are not used to sitting in moments of being served, of being loved on, like from an emotional space, because you've never been given the opportunity to do that or to be that. So it can be difficult for men to receive that. And we as women should be able to give that to you instead of like everything being transactional or service oriented, not making you feel like machines and mechanic, like you don't have a heart that beats, you know? So
Yeah.
would you agree or disagree, or how do you feel about the thought of having the opportunity to sit in a moment where you are being loved on and appreciated in an emotional way? Like, what would that look like for you?
I imagine it would be good. I imagine that would be an amazing experience. The thought of it is definitely the thought of it is really, really beautiful. It's not necessarily like I don't when I as I think about it, like it would probably be so foreign that my response may come off as weird because I wouldn't even understand that. You know what I'm saying? Like I would probably spend time trying to figure out what I did to get that. Like what what causes, because everything is so transactional. Everything is, you have to be this now. Um, you know, like you hear people say, I'll operate in my femininity when as if your
Right.
femininity has something to do with me. That's you, that's yours. You know what I'm saying? So I imagine that would be a super dope situation, and for the fellas that have experienced it, like I need y'all to tell me how because I can imagine in my mind I'm thinking about it like I would probably mess that up because I don't respond to it the right way. You know what I'm saying? Because
Okay.
I'd be looking like what? So
So what would, because while we're there, what would be the right way? What do you think would be the right way to respond to that?
with
Like, you
appreciation
feel
and
like
gratitude.
okay,
And because and I would appreciate that and have gratitude for it. It would be a surprise. Like I would be a shock. So initially it may be like the defenses go up. Is this got something in it about to take me out of here? What's going on here? You know what I'm saying? Because it just don't. It's just not an experience that I've. It's like the unicorn. I've heard about it, but I ain't never seen it.
got you,
So
got you.
that's
Okay,
that's my thoughts.
all right. Well, before we move on, I see somebody else is in the building, so it is definitely about to go down further in this conversation. Thankfully, he was with us last week. I call him the voice of God, you know, but the rest of y'all may call him Moose B Strength in the building. So let's bring him on up to the platform. And how are you doing? How are
Hey,
you?
beloved. Hey, family. Hey, beloved. How you guys doing?
All right, yourself?
Good, brother. I missed you, man. You all right?
Yeah, I'm coming along.
Good. Hey, Lady Phil. King Vegeta.
Hey, brother, how are you?
Yes,
Hey,
sir. Yes, sir. What's
good
going
to
on,
see
bro?
you. Lady Dawn. Nothing but love.
I am wonderful, beloved. Glad to see you. And glad you are here to lend to the conversation. And also, look at here. We got double E's in the building on tonight. So, without warning media, Mr. Eric Moore, who is the best friend of Eric, Sir Eric, is also going to join us up here on the platform tonight. Listen, we are y'all welcome him in how we do. What's good, brother?
What's going on with you, sis?
Hey, brother.
Nothing, everything, just over here doing what we do. How are you? Welcome in. Let's see who else we got. Oh, of course. I'm glad Eric shared it with you because I definitely forgot and it was on my mind to do so. Because we want to hear from the voices of the men tonight again. And it's just general conversation, just real and raw and authentic. Because during this season of love, as we call it in the month of February, a lot of men, as we know, get overlooked with Valentine's Day. It seems that y'all give out more and, receive less. And we want to be able to, hear from you because women, maybe we need an opportunity to understand what really is in the heart of a man. Sometimes we have been so used to being served that we don't know how to serve you as men with a heart that beats. You are not just here to serve us with everything and provide everything. We have to find better ways of giving back so that men know that you're loved. Because that's one of the things that that I have heard about from conversations that I've had. I'm trying. It's not 8:30, so I'm trying not to go left too soon. But there's a space that I have heard from a lot of men like you don't feel loved. Is that safe to say at your heart's core? Do you often feel neglected, overlooked, maybe recognized, but that feeling of love, such as women, how we feel to that degree, do you get to have that moment? So any one of our men folk want to share?
I think it depends on the woman that you're involved with. We have men, as men, we have to take care and pick the woman that we feel is best for us. And sometimes we don't do that. Sometimes we settle, and by settling, right, all you're doing is like, you're not giving yourself the necessary tools and opportunity that you need to grow. And you're not and by you settling, that woman that you just settled for, this is not a knock on her, but you're stifling her as well. Because you're not investing all of you into her. She's not investing all of her into you. And it's a lose-lose situation.
True. And I can receive that. I can definitely receive that and understand it from that perspective. But when it comes to that, I think this is one of the things that I love about these conversations is that men don't get the opportunity to just think of yourselves. In respect to what you said, in respect to how you responded and what you said. And it is absolutely true. It depends on the woman that you're choosing. But all of that starts with you, with what your needs are like. How do you want to be loved? And the fact that I think a lot of men, and you correct me if I'm wrong, have not had the opportunity or been taught or had a moment to even consider yourself outside without any regard to a woman, period. Like, what does your heart need? Because I think when we as people understand what our hearts need, that affects how we partner or who we choose to partner with other people. Does that make sense?
It does. It definitely does. To answer this particular question, I guess it's like this. A lot of men are raised in different ways, with different values, or taught different lessons from different people, whether it be their interior family, their exterior family. You know, it can be like that of the lessons that we receive could be that of loving and care, and other lessons that we receive is that of combat and survival. So, me personally, what I need and what I've always needed was honesty in order for me to feel valued. I needed like people just to be truthful with me, you know, and a lot of times we don't get that. Not in its total, not in its total package. Sometimes we're told things as men by other men what we need to have at that particular moment. So, like, you know, a lot of us are taught to be strong. Don't cry. Don't do this and that. Don't do all these other things that they think make us less of men. But in essence, we need these as well. We need to be whole. So you need to be able to be vulnerable, right? As well as be strong. You need to be a leader, but you have to be willing to receive. If you don't have these things that are taught to you, then you can't be the man that you need to be, and then you can't be the man that you want to be.
Okay, I can receive that. Ladies, I hope y'all are leaning in and listening. And we're gonna get to we gonna dig a little further in the conversation. But I do want to welcome in Jacqueline. Hi, Miss Jackie. She's in the building on tonight, and we are glad that you are here, sis. Thank you for joining in. There are some questions. I see y'all in the chat, and I'm going to get to that because there are some questions that are specific to a couple of our panel people, our panel men tonight. But the question I want to ask, let me start here. Okay, let me start here. And I'm going to go around and ask y'all. And thank you for that, E. Thank you. That was very enlightening, and I hope, ladies, again, that you are listening. This is a space for our men to talk, and we don't have to be like we can lean in heavy. And I might give a little pushback in certain places, and it's because I really want us to get to the root of the heart of a man. You know, your hearts beat differently than women's do, you know, because your responsibilities and how you are built and wired is different. Yes, all of our hearts beat. But I want men tonight to share and think of yourselves outside, not the father, not the husband, not the boyfriend, not the this, but what makes your heart beat. So I'm going to start with Moose. I want y'all to think about the topic, the heart of a man. And y'all, this is, as you know, this is just genuine, authentic conversation. I want you to think about the topic. And Theo, you know, I'm going to pull you in a minute. But we think about the heart of a man. What makes your heart beat? Your heart, not, because I don't think men think of themselves outside of the performatory services that y'all provide. And kind of related to what Eric said, because you were taught a certain way, you know, and not taught to think of yourself. But what makes your heart beat? I'm gonna start with Moose, since he's right there. What makes your heart beat, beloved?
Oh, you know.
I already know it's gonna be true.
You know what's so crazy, right? Is we really have to think about that, because I don't know my life outside of my children, outside of my marriage, relationship, the whole thing, right? Outside being a Christian, outside of, hey, you know, just all spiritual. I like me. Oh, that takes time to think, right? So one of the biggest things I can think about is just that what makes my heart beat is being able to live, to breathe, to be able to see the skies and recognize it. Because I know that when I don't notice the sky, I know that my life is in turmoil. So to be able to notice the sky, to be able to laugh, to be able to breathe without judgment, without wearing this armor that protects me in the corporate environment against the bull crap that we as melanated people deal with on a day-to-day basis. Walking through life and just breathing. I don't know me without having to worry about what's going to happen next. So what makes my heart, I think, beat is something I haven't seen yet. You know, so I'm waiting to find that. You know, like I know it excites me, but that's all short-lived. You know, it might be a smile. You know, it might be a little flirtation here and there. It might be some good food, you know, or some good time with my family, my brothers, my family, you know. But I don't know what that means for an extensive period of time.
Okay.
Sorry, I don't know if that makes sense, people.
No, listen, first of all, there's no apologies tonight. There's no wrong answers tonight. You guys are sharing, and it's important for women to hear. And I think for even other men to hear the response, because if you've never been in a position where you've been able to just think of you, like you said, outside of all these other things, which are not you, those are things that you do. Those are services that you provide. And again, it just goes to prove or speak to the point of how a man's heart goes neglected more often than we may even realize. We assume because you're going through your motions that all is well, you know, when truthfully your hearts could very well be starving because they've never been encouraged to breathe or to live or to experience. You know, so no, there's no apologies tonight. Y'all good. Speak freely. Sir Eric, what makes your heart beat?
Laughter. Being able to laugh. Finding things that's really funny. That's what makes my heart beat. I can't get any plainer than that. It's just laughter.
Okay, that works. At least you have something to identify that makes your heart beat. And just as simple as that. One of the things I kind of want us women to tap into and lean into as we're listening to what the men are saying is that these are some of the simplest things that we can experience in life. And yet they get overlooked. You know, when you're looking for a way to encourage the man in your life, it could be something as simple as do something that makes him, as Eric said, laugh. You know, that's what makes his heart beat. That's what makes him feel alive. It's a point of how can we, how can we serve you? How can we show up for you? You know, and we can't show up for you properly if we don't know what really your heart requires and what your hearts need. So before we go on, welcome in, y'all. Pay homage and salute to the queen of the Bravo with Sheila Network herself, my auntie Bravo, Pastor Sheila. Welcome in, auntie. Thank you for stopping through. She's always here. She says, blessings on be to the panel and the chat. Good evening. So glad to see your face in this place. Thank you, auntie, for being in the building. And Juglin says, thank you for sharing your honesty moves. See, sometimes we as women, we need to hear these things. And this is why I feel like men's panel is so important. You know, the motto that I have for the men's panel is something happens when men speak. You know, the problem is y'all don't get the chance to speak and be heard very often. So I love the fact that y'all are here tonight and only me and Theo are up here with you. And Theo she refuses to come off her mic, which is fine. Because this is not about us.
No,
this is
but I want to give the men their space. So
right. No. I'm not. This just you. She's here as moral support for me. Okay. So this is about y'all. All right, but I do. We appreciate that. We appreciate that. And so I want to move on. Justin, what makes your heart beat?
Um, to not to not feel
Say it again.
invisible, to be seen, and to be visible. Um, I don't know how to not be all of the things that I am. I feel like every person is the amalgamation of their experiences. So I am the responsibility. I am the father. I am the son. I am the hard worker. I am the author. I am the coach. I am all of those things. And every good deed and every bad deed and every mistake and everything that's praiseworthy. I'm all of it. And to only be visible when someone is not pleased with something I do makes it as if I am just a problem. And I know that I'm more than that. And so to be completely visible, to I can assume responsibility and take accountability for my mistakes, but I would also like to be acknowledged for the smile that I put on my people's faces. If I'm with a woman and I put a smile on her face, I would love to see that part too. And I would love to be the reason. So I think I've said this before. In my mine and Lady Dunn and Coach Dio have experienced the way I think before. Unfortunately, y'all pray for them. God be with them. Unfortunately for
Be
me,
prepared.
I take issue with I take issue with seeing someone receive a gift and not acknowledge the gifter. You know what I'm saying? I wouldn't even care if it was a Louis Vuitton bag. What has Louis Vuitton done for you? That the person that got you the bag didn't. And so I just my heart beats for visibility. Um and when I'm visible for more than just my mistakes, the heart beats some good ticks.
Okay. Okay. I love that. I love your response. I love what everyone has said, and Eric Moore, I'm gonna get to you in a second. You next up. But in listening to you, when you're speaking about that visibility, and it is true. And again, ladies, we need to lean in and understand that we have to be more conscious of how we acknowledge our men. I think for what I'm hearing, in a sense, from Justin is the fact that the things that you do day to day that do matter get overlooked. I think sometimes they get labeled as the things that you're supposed to do. So we forget to thank each other for the simplest things, like maybe he took out the garbage. Like, thank you for doing that. That's a life thing. That's something that affects all of us, but it still can be appreciated, not just when he does not take out the garbage, say just for instance, because then I think that it sends the message of, again, things being performatory and service oriented. I'm only going to commend you when you do something above average, above the, it's the little things. Just like women, when we cook a good meal, we love the fact that a man would say, babe, dinner was good tonight, although you can cook every night, but maybe tonight you just do something different or whatever it was, you really put your foot in it today. So the fact that we are not balanced, I guess, in our appreciation of men, we are leaving a deficit in what gives them life, that makes them heart healthy and heart happy, and like Justin said, being visible. See me in all the things that I do, not just in the bad or when there's a complaint. Let's see what we got going on in the building. See some stuff going on in the chat. All right. Auntie Baba says, please smash that like button. It helps the channel connect with the algorithm and reach others. We thank you. And we do. We appreciate whether you are watching live or whether you're catching the replay. Just that one little, just that, like, it's just do that on that thumbs up button. Just, it helps us a lot and we appreciate it so very much. Juggling says, Justin, on a friendship side, I see you, bro, and you are valued for being, oh Lord, your ashy needs self. See now,
You
ladies.
start too early. It's not even 8:30 yet. It's not.
But we're gonna be nice tonight. We're gonna be nice. We are gonna be nice. We are speaking life. Listen, y'all gotta understand some of the relationships that we have that go in here are far beyond this, and we are family. So that's brother sister banter. All right. Don't say nothing personal. Don't take it personal. And then welcome in Timothy. Hey TJ, thank you for joining. So glad you could pop on for a moment and be a part. Y'all say hi to TJ. All right, y'all welcome him in. This is his first time here, but will not be his last. That's my peoples. He says, hey Dawn, this sounds interesting. Yet to the brother's point, every man doesn't want the world to know who is giving the gift. Something must be private. Good response, Dawn. Thank you. Yep, some things, they do need to be. But I think it also, just to add on to that, it speaks to the point of appreciation for the giver, not the gift. If you're more excited about what you got than the fact that you were thought of and considered, I think that's where a lot of the root of the problem comes in. And then it feels more performance and service based. And y'all correct me if I'm wrong, but you don't want to feel like you're just like a money dispenser or just here to just give. And while the gifts are appreciated, but you yourself are never appreciated. And it's far more than just saying thank you. Because when you are really appreciative, like, it shows up, I believe, in service. It shows up in how I serve you. That's the reciprocation. The gifts are just the expression of what I feel for you or feel towards you. But how I respond, how I reciprocate to you for what you've done, because it came from the heart. How something touches my heart affects how I respond to your heart. I want you to know from my heart, like, I appreciate deeply your thought of me, because long after whatever it is that you've given me is gone, that feeling is going to remain the same. I'm going to remember. I remember how I felt when he did this for me, and it wasn't because he did this, because I could buy my own Louis bag, but he thought enough. And Justin said something in like one of our private chats about time versus money, and how the provision of a man's time, basically, this is what I got from it. One of the main points I got from it is immeasurable. It is you can't put a price on a man's time. When I'm giving you my time, like, it's actually a product, So ladies, we have to also be very mindful that men's time is valuable. Like, what's the worth of being in his presence, of being with him, not just him being in my presence, but me being in his presence when he's giving up that time, because he could be making money somewhere else. He could be doing a bunch of things, and so we can't take it for granted that this is, again, what you're supposed to do, but even if it is what a man is supposed to do, how are we responding to that? And how am I adding to your heart to make you want to do it again? I hope that helps make sense. We here conversing. Jackie says, in other words, validation and feeling of wholeness is what you look for to feel, Justin. That's what makes your heart beat. That's what she's pulling from that. And these are things, ladies, as we're listening to the men, that we need to consider as we are engaging with other men. We have to also change our perspective. Because you know what? All right, I know it ain't 30, but it's not 8:30, but I'm be slightly, a little turn toxic here. Okay. We got to come out of this selfish zone that everything is about us. Like we really do. Because guess what? These men are out here healing. We've been complaining about men being broken and all that, and men have been doing their work and healing silently and, you know, really getting it in and becoming stronger while we out, you know, having brunch and mimosas and galentining. And now, you know, the men who were broken are now showing up in our lives as whole, like he is in his whole mannish era, and we don't know what to do. You know, we how are we now handling the man who is now whole that shows up in our life because he did his work? Do you know what's in his heart? Do you really know? You know, are we paying attention? Because a lot of us, honestly, never thought that a lot of our men would heal. And that's sad. That we did not always encourage healing in our men. We just kind of accepted the fact that you know, our men are broken. They're just always going to be broken. And so we did not even prepare for, as we would say in the church world, what we prayed for. You know, I'm just saying. All right, I'm going to stop right there. So, E. Moore, come on, tell us what makes your heart beat.
All right, now that I have a better understanding after listening and to the other gentlemen and listening to you as well, what makes my heart beat is being heard, knowing that I'm being heard, being respected, and being valued. These things make me, like, you know, ecstatic. And it's not just like from my woman, but from also like my family members, like my friends, my brothers, my sisters. You know, these are the things, like, you know, yeah, we're men, but we got feelings too. You know, sometimes, you know, we're only called upon to do a certain service, fix the car, as you said, take out the trash, you know, do this and that. And we can have messed up days. And when we're not looked at as anything other than a repairman or a sounding board or just somebody who's there to make you feel better than yourselves and makes us feel less than what we are. So being heard, being seen, and being respected. These are the things that bring me joy. And I've been blessed to have all three of these things.
I love it. Heard, seen, valued, respected. And I've heard it said, thank you for that. I mean, I've heard it said, oh, hold on. Jackie says, E. Moore, love it and totally agree. It's what makes you human. It's what makes you human mind. It's what makes you human, mind, body, and spirit. And I can agree. You know, we hear this a lot, but I think sometimes, all right, so we already hear, y'all already know I'm toxic. So we hear it a lot, but from the women's perspective, and this is again, not all. So, you know, and I don't really care. I've been delivering for people a long time. So if y'all come for me, you come for me. It don't matter. It's all good. I said what I said and I stand on it. But a lot of times we as women, we hear it, but it just bounces off. It just bounces off. And the reason why we know that it bounces off is because there is no follow-up action to help affirm what you just said. You know, that you are more than, you're not a hired servant. You know, you have a heart. We are in partnership together. And being in partnership with our men, if your heart's not healthy, it affects the whole body. So it can't just be one-sided, that reciprocation that's needed between men and women. And again, ladies, I hope that we are really leaning in and listening so that we can begin to really reevaluate how to show up, how to support. If we're not perfect, why would we expect perfection out of the men in our lives? Sometimes my mindset when it comes to that is because we both can't be broken at the same time. I need you to be whole so I can still be broken and I don't have to fix myself. Because you being whole, you're going to be very compassionate towards me when I'm hurting. You know, you're going to be very encouraging to me when I'm hurting. You know, you're going to show up me. It's okay. You know, we'll do, you know, it's that coaxing over smoothing over my feelings where I never have to get better so that I can be a better support in our space. I mean, I don't know if you have, as men have ever considered that sometimes, you know, when you are engaging with you as the stronger man, maybe the weaker woman coming. Sometimes we as women, we don't want to, oh, I already partially said it. Sometimes we as women, we don't want to fix ourselves. We don't want to. So we want to find a man who is willing to accommodate our issues. And that's not fair to anyone, you know, and that's just the truth. And this is not a, you know, it's not a male bashing or woman bashing conversation. It's just the truth of the truth, because until we deal with the truth, none of us will ever get better, and we'll forever end up either breaking each other who have already healed, or we're just going to continue clashing, you know, when it comes to relationships. So we want to gain an understanding of really what's in the heart of a man. Ladies, have you ever stopped to ask your man, or men? No, I'm going to talk to them. Let's talk to the men because y'all are here tonight. So men, has a woman ever stopped to ask you, how is your heart feeling today?
Nope.
That made my heart jump hearing that. Jesus Christ.
Nope.
Mm-mm.
Not at all.
I can't. I gotta say yeah, because like maybe it's new for me. Like I'm in a brand new relationship. I've known her like for like 20 years, and we're in this brand new relationship. And what I see her doing with me, which is extremely rare, she's asking me why do I feel this way about this particular thing? How am I feeling today? What makes me feel important in our relationship? That's rare to me. I've never heard that brought to me, you know, and that threw me for a loop. And by me being in that space prior to her coming into my life, my whole mentality was like, yo, all right, well, I got walls built all around me. Yes, I'm going to do what I need to do, right, to make sure whatever relationship I'm in is, you know, taken care of from my standpoint. But to hear her to ask me, why am I feeling this way? How can I help us be better? You know, it's a blessing.
But that's different from what Dawn was asking, which is, have you heard, has anybody ever asked you, how's your heart feeling?
But I heard that today.
Yeah, that's what
my point.
Right, that's what he's saying. He
good one, brother. Because yeah, that's like a unicorn, man.
Yeah.
Take care, brother.
Yo, I'm learning to accept that right now, man. It's like something brand new. It's like these are the things that we, as men, we want to have our mate, our wives, our women give us what we give them. A lot of times, that's not the case. A lot of times, they don't know what to give us because we, number one, don't express that to them. Number two, they never ask, right? Number three,
that should be number one.
Well, it depends on the circumstance, really. You know, they never ask because sometimes if they don't know how, if they were brought up and taught to, like, you know, to act a certain way and be a certain way around their man, around their husband, around their lover, then how would they know? It's important for us to teach each other. And like, she taught me something, right, that I totally chose to forget about myself. You know, she taught me that it's okay for me to want to be by myself. It's okay.
That woman love you.
Yo, I'm finding that out, family. Trust me.
Because she ain't gonna worry about or any of those things.
Yes.
If she love you, she see you more than just a price tag. She see you more. She see you as a human being in her life that she loves. That's why she ask you those things. That's why she's pushing those things. You know, like even with your when you were listening, like Dawn said is right. That should have been number one. She should have been asking, right? Women should ask, right?
Mhm.
And you're one, and she not just asking for a fluff talk. She asking you so she can actually contribute, so she can make that happen, so she can you. Bro, that's rare, man. I don't know, you know, like look, don't get me wrong. You know, in that beginning phase and stuff, and when people just getting to know each other, women are gonna ask questions, right? But are they asking it because they really want to know? Or are they asking it because they just trying to fill space so that you can think that they're intriguing and interesting as well? You know what I'm saying?
No doubt.
So I like, even if it's like, at least in my life, right? It's anecdotal, but you know, a woman will ask those in the beginning, but she don't really care about you, man. And again, this is anecdotal, people. So this is just my experience, you know. You, like most women that I've ran into, ain't been taught to care about a man as another human living organism. You just like a bug to them. You know what I'm saying? So I haven't experienced where in a relationship with a woman, who I am really matters to her. You know what I'm saying? And it's been time after time after time. So yeah, obviously I'm probably running into the wrong ones, choosing the wrong, whatever that may look like. But I have not really ran into a woman in a relationship who cares. What I run into is, yeah, they'll do whatever they got to do in the beginning, but then once you in, all that stuff go out the window.
Right.
Even arguments, like if I'm upset with you, you're still my person. So I'm
Yep, blacked out.
Okay, well, while we wait for Moose to come back, the only thing that I would kind of contrast to why I said that asking you should be number one, and this is where so Lily says, because I want to get to our comments too. She says, we ask because we want to know. And that's true. You know, some women ask those questions because we do want to know. But at the same time, with us wanting to know, ladies, we have to be active listeners into the response. You know, and when you are an active listener, there's usually action that follows behind what we've heard. And so I kind of want to not give us really any excuse tonight in a sense. So again, I'm gonna be a little toxic. It's not 8:30, but I'm just saying because it is what it is, right? So the issue that I have with the statement of women don't ask because we don't know, because we weren't raised that way. The issue I have with that is at some point in your life, you can no longer rest on what you were not taught, what you did not know, and what mama and them did. At some point in your life, if you are an adult in a relationship, when you make that choice to get into that relationship, because you're not in a relationship with mama and daddy and grandma and them and Auntie Fifi and whatnot, and whatever they did not teach you, because no one can teach us the totality of life. You know, you have to take what you were taught. There's a lot of lessons my parents taught me that I had to unlearn because they did not serve me in my relationships. When I tried to do it the way my parents did it, it was messed up. And why? Because I'm not my mom. I'm not my dad. He's not my dad. I'm not my mom. This is not the same. Our needs are not the same. So I'm trying to perpetuate a cycle that's not serving anybody, you know. And we don't need to repeat history. And I'm just saying this because I really want us to think about it, because we have to get off of the crutches of using it as an excuse that I was never taught. When you realize, when you want to learn something, you will go find it for yourself. And the other part of it, and I'm sorry, ladies, but not sorry, is why we can't lean on this. I didn't ask him, or I don't ask because I don't know, is the fact that we are some of the first ones to expect a man to ask us those questions. So if you are looking for a man to sit and have conversation with you, and that's and men tell me if I'm wrong, because I'm a woman who dates men. I don't date women, but as a woman, I know that's part of one of the questions that I know comes up in conversation that I look to see if you ask, because it shows your interest, the level of your interest and your engagement, how much you want to engage. What is the depth with me that you're trying to get to? Because if I'm not interested in your heart, I'm not going to ask you nothing about it. So we rip. Give me just 1 second. We ripped the Band-Aid off tonight. Only because, like I said, women, we have to show up better for our men. And so we can't lean on that anymore of, I didn't know. But sis, how do you want him to show up for you as a human being? Not because I'm feminine and I'm pretty and I'm this and I'm cute, and I'm not as a person, because your cuteness doesn't do anything for him if you are not helping him be, feeding or pouring into him. His beauty, his sexiness, his fineness, the tall chocolate or the, caramel, whatever it is, them shoulders, whatever it is, doesn't do you any good at the end of the day if you don't feel that man cares about you. And then women, we fight for that. But then we don't always show up in a man's life giving that back to you as men. So it's not fair, I think, when we lean on that. Yes, we may not have been taught to ask that, but where did we learn to expect to hear it? I'm going to let that rest. Go ahead, Moose. What was you going to say?
No, you hit the point. I was about to bring it up, and you already covered it. So, reciprocation, the thought process,
Exactly. I just wanted to clear one thing up, Dawn. It's like, it's true. We're all adults. I can understand a child, being set in their ways because they don't know better. So as adults, we make a conscious decision to do this, that, or whatever, right? So as men, right, when we decide to choose our woman, right, if we don't do our due diligence and we just basically, we don't invest the time that we need to figure out who you are, why you're this way, what you want to be, what you need to, and also what you're afraid of. A lot of people don't want to admit, like, especially women, because you guys have been hurt more. We're, in essence, not saying we don't hurt as men, but you guys get hurt like on a regularity. You guys get hurt going to work. You guys get hurt from family members. It's a universal thing, and it's not done by all men, but it's still done. So what I meant is like this: if this individual was raised a certain way, if this woman is raised a certain way, and not only is she raised that way not to ask you, but the company she keeps enforce that mentality, what do you expect is going to happen?
Well, I understand you speaking to the space of influence then, and I get that, but I still press on the gas with the fact that we make these choices and decisions. And if my influence, if the things that I'm being influenced or the people I'm being influenced by, I'm in relationship with you. Everybody should not have an influence or a say in my relationship with you. So this is where we as women go wrong a lot, because sometimes we are talking to women who have been unsuccessful in relationships. We are talking to women who are wounded women who are teaching from their wounds, which is where that defense comes from. Because at the end of the day, if you're my sis, and I don't expect you to move like I move, but I see you're happy and you're trying to be happy, I'm going to try to influence you to do what you need to do in this relationship with this man, not what I would do, and we have to come to a point of making decisions for ourselves, because you keep leaning into your influence around you, and you're going to be influenced to be single and miserable with everybody else that's single. They may be single and happy. Singleness may not be what you want, so I'm just saying, like, we have to take the accountability for our actions, for how we're showing up in that relationship with you. And it should never be okay to make that excuse, because I can tell you there's reasons and there's excuses, but I can tell you from a woman's perspective, on the women's side, if it was the other way around, and my man kept coming to me with all of these influences, and I've been in this situation before, and there's receipts. Look, I don't care what they doing. I'm talking about me and you, because I'm not with the second dude. Like, in my book, you're not number 2, you're number 1. Now, if you're going to be number 2 and keep listening to number 3 over there, then guess what? Then you got to go over there, because I need you to be present here. So we have to be mindful of the influences that we're letting in, because that's not allowing me to show up for you as my man. You're not our man.
Right.
You're my man. So it's okay if mama and them didn't. I appreciate what they did, but now I got to take those lessons and apply it here. I'm sure you don't want to deal with a woman who everything she does or comes back and says, well, my mother said, or my sister said, or my auntie said, because I know that gets to it. Maybe like, I'm not dating your mama and your sister. You know what I'm saying? So we have to be conscious to be in the space with you. Now, I'm going to hop over to Justin for a second, because I want to know, Justin, did your heart come back yet? See, you said it leaped when I said that?
Yeah, I'm just listening. But yeah, how's your heart going? That is a very powerful question. It's a powerful question. I think that shout out to the brother who said he met one that asked him that. That is,
Let's eat more.
I aspire. I aspire to experience that. Like I can appreciate Lady Dawn not actually being toxic, but actually speaking to things that we as men, if we speak to, we'll go viral on the internet by in the morning. I can tell you that much. If we say some of the things that she's saying, but I think that for me, the reality is that we got to acknowledge that all of us are in a space where we're trying to figure it out. Healing in our community as a collective has not been a thing. It was allowed more so in the space for the women, at least in my experience, than it was for the men. But all of us are in a space of healing, and then the conversation around healing, a lot of it is just talk. People know the right phrases to use, but the actual work doesn't actually take place a lot of times. And so like I think, like the brother said, like I want to say this because a conversation like this can definitely be mixed and screwed. I am not asking a woman to give me anything that I'm not willing to give. So I am looking to be present. I'm looking to be vulnerable. I'm looking to be the things that I as a man need, that I as a man should be for the woman that I am. I'm not looking to be coddled or baby, but the word that keep getting bounced around is reciprocation. I'm looking for reciprocation, and I am willing to forgive, meaning to give first those things that I'm asking. And so I think that all of the brothers on this panel we're speaking about things we don't experience, but these are also things that we feel like we give. And I definitely feel like there's an issue with the language between men and women, because how men speak sometimes is not often heard. Just to kind of, if it's okay, that the conversation that we was having about when somebody gives you something, you know what I'm saying? Like if you go, for me, a man take a woman out on a date and spend $300. For me, the women are impressed with the $300. I want to know how many days of work how many 8-hour days of work did that person spend for 2 hours to sit down and eat a plate to impress somebody that may be on a foodie call? You know what I'm saying? Because that $300 for somebody making $25 an hour, that's like a 12-hour shift. So somebody come and give you a 12-hour shift time, something that they cannot get back, and the nerve to, man, the nerve of somebody to act like that's nothing. You know what I'm saying? So what, you can do it yourself? You didn't. And so my thing is that there's a level of appreciation and empathy that we all need to have for each other. Everybody can get up and do things for themselves. That's all the more reason to appreciate the person that does it for you. Because in my upbringing and in the men that I have in my circle that I know, all of us want to be absolutely everything that our women want us to be. I don't necessarily know if I want to be a billionaire no more, because all them fellas on the news right now got problems that I just don't want to even be associated with. But you know what I'm saying? Like I would love to be able to go on trips and everything like that, but I want to do that for somebody who appreciates you. And so to me, that question can unlock the heart of a person, and you may be unlocking everything you need. Like, I'm a person that I still believe in potential because I don't know how to get around potential. I think every day we wake up, even if you're with somebody that's proven to you, you're still depending on the potential for them to show up again the next day. And so I believe in potential. But I'm telling you, that question was, Jesus. Yeah, that was a heavy question. That was a heavy question. And I can say, as a man, I just learned how to ask it. I just learned how to stop saying how you doing and say, yo, how are you doing mentally, spiritually, and emotionally, and physically? And I want an explanation, not a one-word response, but I want an explanation and an answer to all of those questions.
Mhm.
And so, yeah, that's my thoughts on that.
I
So,
love it. Hold on, y'all.
can I
Let
say
me
something?
give me 1 second. Hold on. I'm gonna let you get in. Let me just read this comment real quick. Both men and women. Jackie says both men and women must show up for each other. We must receive the climate that we're in. We must recognize, the climate that we're in. Everyone and their cousins are against us as people. We must do better. And that's speaking to us going outside of the realm of me asking you and me talking to everybody else in them to figure out, how I should show up. Justin, thank you for that share. Like, I just want to say, and then I'll give space to Theo and E. Swinton. I want you to also, respond, because you was quick. You were like, nope, and I love it because we talking real here, plain and simply. We are talking really real here. But one thing I want to say, you made a point, Justin, in your response about, you're not looking to be coddled or whatever. But what if you are? What if you were? What is wrong with a man wanting to, I'm here for the smoke. You know what I'm saying? What if he does? What is wrong with, I am, so what? Like, there's nothing wrong with you wanting to be coddled at all. Ladies, there's nothing wrong with your man wanting to be coddled at all by you. Because then the first time when that man shows up hard and detached, and y'all know what it is when Justin rests on the glasses. I done made you get the glasses, Justin. I'm sorry, not sorry. I told y'all this is what we do. But it's real. It's the real truth. So what? And I want the men to hear, so what? If you want to be coddled, boo, I need you to tell me, because this is your safe space where, I'm going to coddle you better than your mama ever could. That's what I'm going to do. And that's between me and you. And I think what happens is that we don't realize that these are the moments that create the intimacy in relationships that women we are looking for. And we are our own worst enemy when we are quick to talk down or go spread it. Why does your sister and your girl gotta know the girl he had this ninja wanted to be coddled? I ain't his mama. What? You missed it, sis. You missed it. You missed the moment where his vulnerability showed up and he opened the door. He came to you as his safety, and we miss it. And then we wonder why men don't show up emotionally in spaces sometimes with us, or they'll show up and it's performatory. It's because when I showed up emotionally with my need, not with what you needed, sis, but what he needed, then how did we respond? How did we react? And now what do you expect for him to do? Because I know if it was me, now I am absolutely woman, but I will tell you first of all, I have such a man's mentality at times that is ridiculous. Because they'll be like, bro, let me tell you something. Look, I've come a long way. I'm reformed in a lot of ways. My soft girl era. I'm gentle now. But I'm just saying, you would have like a half a time with me for me to even begin to open up, and then you come off negatively about what I'm needed. Men need to be hugged and loved just as much as women do. And this is why I think this conversation is so important. And sometimes we need to hear these points from a woman while we are listening to the voices of men speaking. Because sometimes, like you said, sometimes men and women, we speak different languages. So I'm trying to girl translate it. If you need to be coddled, sir, it does not make you a weak man. It doesn't make you less than a man. It doesn't even make you it doesn't revert you to a boy. It is a moment where you are in need of something that is going to fill you. It's a pour. It's a moment to pour into the man that we say that we love, and we miss it. So I would say like this, in that vein, I pause to apologize to the men for all the moments like that were missed for you, where you opened up and that door was kind of closed. I apologize for the times when we fumbled you as men, because we hear about when men fumble women, but we don't want to talk about the times when we failed to show up, and be more to the men in our lives than, to be what they needed. So I'll pause for that. I know, Theo, you wanted to say something. Eric, I want you to also respond more than your no, because I felt your no like it came from your soul, like you sat up.
Yeah, so I'm gonna deviate a little bit from how you guys are. Like, I love the conversation. I love everything that has been shared, but I got stuck on when Moose answered the first question and he talked about all his titles, right? Father, Christian, right? All of that. And it made me think about work that I do. Some of the work I do with my clients from the very beginning is identity, right? Who are you? When you strip away all the titles that we put on as we grow and go through life, right? The title of executive, the title of brother, the title of mother, the title of child, the title of cousin, aunt, like all of these titles, right? That and what makes me think about this is, the work that I do, when you give somebody that message that they no longer have this job, that they've been in all this time, and they break, right? Because their identity is all into the titles that we collect along the way, right? And so it just made me think, like, this is a great topic and I love it, and I love all the conversation. But I'm also wondering from the men, what does your heart need from you? right? Not from anybody else. Like, what does your heart need from you? How are you loving yourself? How are you seeing yourself? Right? Like, what does your heart need from you? And when you strip away all of those titles, who are you at your core? What are you passionate about? What do you love? What do you wake up in the morning excited to do? Right? Who are you if you no longer had that job? Right? You no longer have that title, right? Because once you know at your core who you are and what your heart needs from you, you then also know how to articulate to someone else what it is that you really need. Right. And it just made me think, like when Moose was like, I don't really know how to answer that question because I'm a this, I'm a that, I'm a this, I'm a that. I'm like, yo, that's something that I literally have been having that conversation with several people this week. And every single person that I've asked, who are you? Right? Not your title. They literally have said, I got to think about that and come back to you. Because along the way, as you go through life, right? And I've been there, right? I identified for you asked me who I was, I'm gonna give you my title, HR, whatever, right? And it took some work, it took some looking inside to really figure out, like at your core, if you no longer had this job, you no longer had this house, you no longer had, like I was daddy's girl. Daddy ain't here no more. Right?
Right.
I had to figure out, now who are you? Your papa, your dad, your heart. Part of my heart left, right? When I lost my dad. So I had to figure out, like, who am I without my father, my earthly father being here, right? And so that it just made me think of that question also for the men to think about is not only what do you need, what does your heart need from a woman? What does your heart need from you? How are you loving yourself? How are you showing up for yourself every day?
And that's a good point. Thank you for bringing that, Coach. See what I'm saying? This is why I got, I got to, she rides shotgun all the time, because she catches it. And I felt that. I felt everything that each one of you, has said and has shared. And I hope, again, that ladies, we are leaning and listening in, because the key to all of this is that, we want to show up better for each other. And again, this is not tit for tat. We all know that we are all human, and whether male nor female, we all have needs. We understand that. But sometimes we got to take the attention off of one group and put it on the other so that we can listen, so that we can hear, so I appreciate everything that is being said and that is being shared. It is a question in the comment section that I'm going to get to in a second. But Swinton, when that question was asked, you was like, nope. So, elaborate on that for us and tell me tell us, would it make a difference in your day if you were asked that question? And, and what difference would it make? Most of the men, y'all have already kind of answered and touched on that, within the question, but just to kind of recap a little bit. Go ahead, Swinton.
It would it would make all the difference in the world, because of the fact that shows me that somebody really does care. Eric calls me, we speak 3-4 times a week. We ask each other how we doing. But a lot of times, I want to hear that from him. I want to hear that from my spouse. I want to hear that from my kids. I want to hear that from my family. And I don't get that. That's why I say nope.
And that's fair. That's fair. And I think sometimes, were you finished?
Like my wife will ask me how I'm doing. And I'll be like, oh, I'm fine. But I'm really not. And so forth. You can see on my face that I'm not fine. But for me to answer your question, you gotta ask it the right way. Don't give me the generic how you doing question. But how you doing is different from how you feel. It's different from, do you need me to do anything for you? So if you're not getting that, you know me well enough to know, Dawn, I can go down in shutdown mode in a minute. and or I don't like being home. This is the longest
Yes.
I've been home out on injury and so forth. But just because I'm home does not mean that I have to be the robot and sweep, mop, and clean all the time. I would have no choice in doing it if she was empty, but she's not. You see what I'm saying? So I would have a conversation with her, but I know the road that conversation would go down, and then you'll see me missing from this podcast for a couple of weeks because I'd be outside walking around on the streets trying to clear my head and everything. So that's why I say no.
Got it. That's real.
Love
That's
my
real.
wife.
And I think,
I'm sorry.
say it
To
again.
death. Love her to death. Going out on Friday. Anniversary dinners on Sunday. You know, I love her. It's just that, I can't, how can I put it? I can't ask more of her without her knowing she should be given more.
But would you feel comfortable sharing what you just shared with her?
No, because I know what road that goes down.
Mm,
That's why I stay in shutdown mode.
mm.
See, I think,
I can't go down that road with her.
Mm.
and I think one of the things, and thank you for sharing that and being like absolutely transparent. And yes, I know you very well. One of the things that I know, because, for those of you who don't know, most of you do know, Eric and I, we're married once, we're divorced, it's still my bestie, and vice versa. And so I do know, and I'm only sharing that in this vein to say, I do know how he gets and what that experience for him is like, and that side of him. And yes, he will go down in shutdown mode, like quicker than you can blink. But I think it's important for us as ladies to hear and to see in real time, because there's a way that we have to begin to show up. If we haven't been, like we have to start showing up for our men. And if you feel that you showing up for your man in a certain way or in the ways that he needs is a burden, then maybe you're with the wrong man. I'm just going to say it plain and simple. Then that's not it, because it should not, although it may feel weighted at times, there still should be a joy in it. There still should be, it's not a sacrifice. And for lack of a better term, with all respect, it's a duty. Like, it's my duty and my pleasure to be here for you. That's how it should be. And I know that it sounds really cute or, nostalgic or whatever, but it's a real thing. It's real. Like, we have to be able to. One of the things that I did, started doing as I've matured in the dating space and people that I date, not every single body, but when I'm in a, committed relationship, me and you, and it's foreign, I find, to men, as you guys have expressed this, I will sit down and say, I want to ask you a question, and I'm not talking to you like, Dawn, your lady, your girlfriend, I'm coming to you as your friend. Like, I want to check in with you. How are you doing? I noticed this. If you see something, because we can pick up on our man's attitudes and changes and temperaments. So if I can see it, I'm aware that something is not right. So sometimes we don't even necessarily have to ask the question. It's how we show up, and I want to give free space for him to be able to say, like, this is what's happening. Because I think sometimes when we take that relationship piece out of it, like, I don't want you to look at me as your girl who you in your mind have deemed me as the view that I have of you, like you're my hero and you can take all the bullets and you can, catch all the bad guys and nothing bothers you and nothing hurts you and you're my Superman and all of that. Because that's a lot of pressure that happens with men in relationships, because you don't want your woman to ever look at you as less than, right?
Right.
So I try to diffuse that by saying, I'm not looking at you, and we're not even talking in that way. I'm coming to you as your friend. The same way that if we weren't dating, like, what's up? How are you feeling? And I need you to tell me, and make it a safe environment for men to share, because again, when we don't, and men, y'all hold so much in, and then men show up detached, we as women then will be quick to get an attitude. We got to learn how to navigate these spaces better, and maybe not push, because we don't want to push each other away. But I think that if we just begin to softly try to make spaces more comfortable for men to share and open up without feeling like I'm going to look at you differently, it will make a world of difference in how men show up and respond. So thank you guys, for what you have shared up until this point. I hope everyone is enjoying the conversation. We definitely need to do a part 2, because I love the fact that, again, something happens when men speak. And we not necessarily gentle, but we ripping off the Band-Aid tonight. Y'all know, like I said, I'm here for the smoke. Lily asked a question earlier. She said, Justin, no one ever asked you how you're feeling mentally, which is a good question. She was asking as you were sharing, because for those of you who don't know, Justin is awesome. All right. All these men are up here amazing, but Justin is awesome. He is one of the most caring men and people that I know, as well as everyone on this platform. But if you've never read, and of course, it's over there, Justin's book, Courageous Vulnerability, where he shares, where is it, Just? Where is it? He writes and he shares in a way that makes you open up, like he taps into, like, go get his book. It is such a great, it's not even a great read. It's a great experience. It is a personal encounter, and he helps others, and he's now a life coach certified. That's what's up. And he helps other people navigate through their pain, through their trauma, through their issues, while yet dealing with his own. And it's crazy one would think that in all of that, in the area that you give is the area that you don't receive, or you receive the least. So in regards to Lily's question, she's questioning, no one's ever asked you, has anyone ever asked you how you're feeling mentally?
I've had that question asked before, and I think that was a different question from the one you asked.
Mm-hmm. It was.
So yeah, if that question is inspired by my response to the question you asked, it was a different question. But I've been asked how I'm feeling mentally before. That's a different question from how are you feeling, addressing the heart. Because like Brother Eric said, I think one of the biggest lies that men tell is I'm okay. Ooh, Lord, that's a big lie. So yeah, and yeah. I've been asked before how I'm doing mentally, and I appreciate everybody that's ever asked me that question before. So to answer her question, yes, I've been asked that before.
So I have a question for Eric Moore.
Okay, hold on. Before you ask your question, let me just tag on to what he said real quick, because I just want to make this quick distinction. I love that you distinguish the fact that it's different asking how you're feeling mentally versus when you're asking about the condition or of your heart, because sometimes we may not realize that they are two different things, and we're thinking by asking one, we're addressing all. So I just want to share that. Go ahead, Theo. I'm sorry.
So, Eric, does you and your lady friend, do you guys have like times where you have set aside to have like the conversations you talked about, you guys having, or is it just organic?
A lot of times it's organic. We've actually, It's funny. You laughing because you know what I'm about to say. All right, so it's definitely organic, and like I said earlier, it's something different for me because I'm a giver. I want to make sure you're happy. I want to make sure you have what you have. All right. I can't be everything to you if I don't know exactly what you need. So I'm an inquisitive individual as well. I'm going to ask you questions. Now, whether or not you respond to the questions honestly depends on how I'm able to help you help us. So the conversations that we have with each other, right? Perfect example. And this is going back to something that Dawn said earlier. She asked me, because we've known each other for 20 years, right? She's like, when we started talking to get to know each other again, she's like, who are you now? Right? Because she knows everything I've done, right? She knows exactly what I'm doing with our business, everything. She's like, who are you now? And the first thing I said to her, I said, I'm a work in progress. All right. I'm trying to be better than what I was yesterday. Right. By her being who she is to me and who she is, period. She's like, cool. Because like she knows the things that I've done in my past. When I say we've known each other, she knows a lot of stuff that I've done. And I know what she's done. But we accept each other for who we are now. Not what we've done in the past from a negative context, but like what we're doing now, what we're trying to become now. All right. So when she said that to me, once again, I'm thinking I'm in a twilight zone. I'm thinking there's cameras around me that I've never seen before. This got to be filmed like, for a comedy special, but she was sincere. And from that point on, every conversation we have, and I'm not trying to make this about her. I'm just like trying to let you know exactly how she makes me feel, because I've been where my brother Eric has been. Like my last relationship was like that, right? So I understand exactly how he's feeling and why he feels that way, but, and it doesn't mean that I'm going to love you any less because I'm verbalizing how you make me feel. I need for you to understand that, because evidently you may not be seeing these things, but it's affecting me. And if it's affecting me, it's affecting us. And if you want there to be a us, we need to be able to discuss these things, right? Without you feeling less than what you are.
Yeah, I love it. I love that she asked you, who are you now?
Yeah.
Right. So yeah, no, that's cool. I was just wondering, like, if you guys decided to just have those conversations on a regular, or if they were organic. So I love that they're also organic and you're able to still move through it.
Yeah.
I love it. And I wanna because this has been good and it can be heavy, and deep, but it's necessary. If we're not gonna get to the root of the matter, for me, I don't want to talk about it. You know what I'm saying? Because it's time for us to get over the surface healing and let's get down to the root of the wound so that we can fix it from the bottom up. I do want to thank the men for sharing transparently tonight and really speaking openly, because this is real. A lot of us are going through these things. A lot of us have been through these things. A lot of men are feeling the same way and are just silent. So you are helping other men who will be listening in and tuning in. And I think it makes a world of difference when a man sees another man being open to share. I think it gives, I can't speak for men, but as a woman, when I hear other women openly talking about the things that I struggle with, that in my silent space, it encourages me to open my mouth more and, be vocal or start to own what I'm feeling so that I can get through it. It makes me feel like I'm not alone. It's not just me. This is normal. I'm not feeling abnormal. This is a normal thing. Hey, Love D, welcome in. Good to see you. Thank you for joining on tonight. And men don't have enough of these spaces or enough opportunities to lean into these conversations. And this is one of the reasons why, I created the Men's Lounge segment, so that men do have a safe space to come and talk openly without mincing their words, without having to rethink what you're saying, without having to walk on eggshells, because sometimes y'all have done that long enough, and unfortunately, we as women don't always take that grace of space and use it constructively. Instead, we read it as a norm and continue in that vein. And we don't want that, want the healing that our men have been doing to count, and for us to not add damage or send men back. The key, ladies, is we are now, again, I told y'all we're not a religious station, but you already know I'm a God's girl, so you're gonna get a little Jesus when you get me, because that's my moral compass. But we are the helpmeet that is suitable to the men in our lives. That means I'm equipped, or I'm supposed to be, to hold your wounds in my womb, to hold your secrets in my. I'm supposed to be able to hold your pain. Not complain. But when I agreed to enter into this relationship, when I committed, and y'all know I say about being committed to the commitment, I got to make my word good. We think about the disappointments men cause women, but ladies, on the other side of that, the men are disappointed when we turn our backs so soon, because they are human. And no one should ever be made to feel rejection for being human. If you can hold me down through my moods and my idiosyncrasies and my shifts, I have to be able to do the same. Because while you're building me up, we are building me up so that I can be strong as we move. So I love the infinity symbol, because it goes with the ebbs and the flows. It's so that when you're down, you have already put enough in me so that when you're down, I have the strength to push you back up. And if we can't move like that, then we don't need to be together. And that's just the reality of it. These are truths that we really just have to start, buckle up, buttercup, and let's get it right. Let's get it right. We have a whole bunch of things for women. We do. And the sad part is, if we were getting better, we wouldn't need so many. So what does that say? We have to start looking at the hearts of our men so that we know how to handle them properly, so that we know how to support them properly, and so that we know how to show up for them properly. So, I want us to do a part 2 to this next month. Y'all on the squad. Oh, Eric Moore, I'm sorry, I don't think Eric warned you that pretty much once you pretty much come up here, like you looped into the squad, it's just what it is. It's one way in and no way out. So
I already knew this was going to happen. This is why I decided to pop up.
Okay. I'm glad you did. Yep. I'm a kidnapper of people, especially those I love. And so, yeah, that's just how I roll. Everybody up here has been subject to it. So, it is what it is. And I don't apologize for it. So, because it would be a lot. But I love y'all. But I do want us to have more conversations like this. I want us to be able to have our men's lounge conversations. And I love that the men you speak so openly and freely, because that's what we need to hear. Ladies, we got to learn how to sit in these hard truths and respect what the man says. I may not like it, I may not agree with it, but I have to respect it.
Yeah.
Dawn, can I ask something?
Sure.
I think what's important, everything you said, I agree with, right? But in any relationship, right, the foundation has to be one of honesty. You have to be willing to hear hard truths about yourselves.
Mm-hmm.
And you have to be willing to change. Everything starts with a conversation. So if you can't communicate, right? How can you expect to move forward in a healthy relationship, right?
Mhm.
Me personally, right? Like I said, she knew me to be toxic. I knew her to be toxic, right? Come to find out, we are identical. Maybe that's work. That's why we work. I never thought that was going to happen. But the most important thing that I took from us being open, it's like we're willing to talk about anything and everything at any time. They're just going like, well, we're not going to discuss this right now. Or if you're feeling a certain way, I'm gonna respect how you feel, and she respects how I feel. But we need to have an understanding of why we feel this way. And I said that's a hard thing for people. You know, we want what we want, but we're not willing to work towards it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
and I think,
hopefully,
and I was gonna say, I think as women too, we have to learn how to create a psychologically safe space, right? We have to create a space where men feel comfortable sharing their hearts, because you know, as you have said, Lady Dawn, right? We can make them feel like sharing their heart is weak or soft or whatever, or not really listening to really hear what they're saying. So for me, I think it's very important to create a psychologically safe space where your mate feels comfortable sharing their heart with you. And that requires us to do some work, right? To get to that space of being able to create that environment, right? Where your mate feels comfortable having that conversation. Like it sounds like Eric and his mate are working. They're there, like they're getting there and they're getting better at it, but it sounds like they're actually creating that for each other.
That was necessary. That was one, like when we first decided to reconnect with each other and decided to do this, it was understood that she knew, right, that I don't let people in. And that's by design. My thought was like, yo, if you can't get close to me, you can't hurt me. So I purposely keep people at a distance. Eric knows my circle is like about the size of my fist, very tight. That's by design. I am not a trusting an individual by design, right? Because I seen what we are capable of, right? But at the same time, by me being that way, I realized that that's a flaw that I have in myself that I need to correct. And she gives me the space and the time, right? And she has the patience with me to work through that. And so, like I said, we all have things that we need to do with ourselves. But the first thing, in order to make any type of change, we have to acknowledge what the problem is, what the concern is, and we have to act on it. It may not be pleasant, but it's necessary.
Yeah.
true. And the thing that I really, in having these hard conversations, but very real, that I want us to always walk away from is, because people get real uncomfortable when we focus on one gender, say, over the other. And the other gender feels like, well, what about, what about when men do it? Or, well, what about when women do it? Like, I want to X those type of moments. Like, just because we're focusing on what is happening with our men right now, we can't have a conversation until one of us sits down and is quiet. And I got to leave you space to speak. I got to give you space to share without feeling like my turn will never come or I won't be heard. And I'm only saying this because as we continue to have these type of conversations, everyone will have their space. Ladies, this is not a, again, women bashing conversation, but we have to learn how to sit in hard truths, have these hard conversations. We have to learn how to sit and hear some things that maybe we may not want to, like, everyone was saying, and are not comfortable. But I learned to do it in the hardest way because I had to say to myself, what I've been doing is like, how's that working for you, sis?
Mm-hmm.
How is all that hyper independence and that strong attitude and this I could do. And I've never said I don't need a man. I've never said that. That's never come out of my mouth, not in one time in my life. Nor will I ever say that because that is far from the truth. It's what I need you for. That's what makes the difference is what do I need you for? But I just want us, when we come into these conversations, for those who are listening, as well as those who are speaking, when we're on the opposite side, we're sitting, we are leaning in to listen, to understand, and not to defend, because that's another reason why our men don't want to talk. Because the minute they start expressing how they feel, and the minute we hear something that we don't like, and we do this in real time, women, we pop off. Not even letting the man finish his sentence, not even letting him finish, because he could be going full circle. He could be bringing it back around. He could just be expressing how he's feeling from beginning to end, so we have the full picture. We got to learn how to sit in that space and let our men speak.
I'm smiling because I got a nickname for my woman. I call her Ricochet. She's quick to think I mean something when I don't mean what she thinks. So I call her Ricochet. I'm like, slow down. That's not what I meant. And it's an inside joke to us. So now when I say that, she laughs at herself and she catches herself, right? And we continue to move forward. But you're correct.
Yeah, and it's just like we had to learn. I've had to learn how to sit and stuff. And again, Eric Swinton knows me very. I will click off in my attitude. But I'm reformed now. I'm reformed. So I'm reformed. I don't do that anymore. I'm reformed. I learned how to sit and hear what I don't want to hear, because it forces me to look at myself and how I'm showing up or not showing up. Here we go, Justin, again twice.
I knew the glasses were coming. I knew the glasses were coming.
Tonight. I did it 2 times tonight. But it forces me, and I'm speaking as a woman who wants to be in a healthy space, who wants to be in a healthy relationship. I want to show up healthy, and I want you to know this is a safe space for you to be healthy. No, we're not going to get it right until we get it right. But let's work on getting it right together in this space, which means that I got to learn how to hold my mule sometimes and just like, you know what? I don't have to like what he's saying, but the things that we dislike the most are usually the truth. And if what I'm saying or what I'm doing is making you feel a certain way, who am I to tell you, well, you shouldn't feel like that because I didn't mean it like that. And when I did it, it was to make you feel. But sis, you cannot force someone to feel something they did not feel. And the proper response is, I apologize. I was not meaning to show up that way or to cause, it to feel this way for you. Acknowledge how that man is feeling. Have the conversation and then figure out all right, how can I flip it? Because okay, let me try this or let me do this. But ladies, it can't be just one-sided. I know we're raised to be the princess and all of that. I get it. But guess what? Even the princess has work and has responsibilities behind the scenes that we don't see. There's training and there's work that's involved behind the scenes that we don't always get to see. We get to see her on the platform or on the balcony waving. But what we don't understand is during the princess way, that when those curtains close, when that door shut, there's work that you have to learn, because there's a responsibility that comes with that. So any man that we partner with, you might be his princess and his queen, but sis, let's learn the work that comes along with holding down that space in that man's life so that he can be heart healthy. Because the better he is, the better he will be for himself, and the better he'll be in showing up in the spaces. Because like Justin said, it was important for me to hear, and I think Moose said it too, I want to be this. You don't even know how healing that was for me. To hear men say, I want to be, because I'm going to be honest. I hear a whole lot of men, you know, they're like, I want to be this T and I want to be that T and I want to do, like, bro, do you want that for me or do you want that for you? You know, and I, again, I told y'all I had questions. You know, my emotions are a little jaded. Like, can I really trust? I hear you talking and you might want to be that, but are you really trying to show? Is that really your heart's desire? Like, do you really want to be that? And be that in my life and be that for me? Can I trust you to do that and to be that? Because that's what you said. And I didn't think men wanted, I'll be honest, I didn't think men wanted to be those things anymore.
I didn't
think men wanted to be, you know, that covering and that provider and that, and I'm not just talking financially, but like I want to hear about your day. Like I want you to put your head on my chest at night and talk to me. Like, you know, I want those things. You know what I'm saying? I did not think that, but hearing you men talk tonight, that's healing for me.
So I wrote down everything.
I don't know who was trying to say something.
I wrote down what they said. So I heard honesty, like this is what they needed, right? Honesty, be truthful, live. They want to be able to live and breathe and just be recognized without judgment. You know, they want to, you know, be, you know, excited by, you know, certain things, be heard, respected, value, laughter, to be seen, to be acknowledged. So ladies, if you missed any of that, that is what these men on this panel shared with us today about what their heart needs. They need honesty, they need truth, they need everything we say we need, right? Honesty, respect, being heard, being valued, right? Laughter, visibility, acknowledge. So, you know, take heed.
Amen. So listen, guys, as we wrap this up tonight, again, fellas, I cannot thank you enough. We're going to schedule the date for next month to come back and do part 2. I know y'all are down with it. Y'all have no choice. I'm going to kidnap everybody, you know, and that's just what it is because y'all are just locked in now. There's, again, one way in, no way out, and I'm not sorry about it, and I love y'all. But I want to leave the last words to our men. And before we do, I want to invite you guys to come back next Thursday because February is not over yet. And it's going to be another dynamic conversation. Our topic next week is when the vows break. Oh my, that's going to be good. Because I got questions, okay? I got questions. All right?
You said when the vows break or the vows break?
When the vows, the VOWS, when what you vowed to do, who you vowed to be, what you vowed that you are, when those things break, what do we do? Where do we, who fumbled what? Like you didn't even fumble it, bro. You broke it. Like it's broken, sis. You know, how do we recover from that? Do we recover from that? What do we do? You know, relationship repair. You know, let's talk about it.
Moose is combing his beard. Like
Moose is really, I could have let y'all into the chat that we had our problems. It's like 2 a.m. and me and Moose is still. I was like, and Justin, I was like, okay, so I got a question. I'm like, okay, so listen, one of these days we're going to do an after show. We're going to start the show after show. So if y'all can be in on what,
I was going to say, only be in our chats. It's like,
look, that was doing me some good last night. Love D said, oh my, when the vows break, that's going to be good. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. I can't wait for that. We ain't playing over here on Thursday nights. People be sleeping, but I'm like, look, we We talk about it over here. We keep it real. Mama Needs says, great convo. Have a blessed evening, everyone. Thank you for joining us. Thank you. Love you so much. And it was an amazing conversation. Again, I just wanted to make sure you guys know that ahead of time. And also, for those of you who need a little, spiritual push, or just some little encouragement. I'm not going to say little, but you need some encouragement. You can also join me tomorrow night at 7:30 over on the Sheila Ingram Network. It's our ministry channel. I will be on there at 7:30. It'll be Spirituality with Elder Dawn B. Yep, I switch hats. I come over here and talk real in the natural, and then I go over there and keep it spiritual, and it's just as tight. It's not toxic of it. Well, it might be spiritually toxic, but it's me. That's all I'm gonna say. It's me. But that's what we had 30 minutes or so of encouragement through word, song, and prayer. However the Lord moves, it's what we do. That girl, listen, thank you so much for joining. Look, y'all hit that thumbs up button and please make sure that you subscribe.
My girl, Lily. That's my little sister.
Hey sis, thank you for coming in. Hit that subscribe button, but meet us back here next week at 7 p.m. The men will be back in March. Having the men's lounge, let y'all do what y'all do, and it's going to be great because we need to continue in this conversation, just adding enlightenment to people as something happens when men speak. So as we exit tonight, I want to give the men the last word. And so as we leave, men, I'm going to start with Swinton, and then Justin, and then E. Moore, and then Moose, aka to me, the voice of God. I'm telling you, I say it every time he shows up that y'all listen, don't tell him I said this, okay? Because but he can read the alphabet to me. He could count to 55. It doesn't matter as long as he's talking. I'm just because I hear God. That's all I hear. I'm just saying. I'm sorry. I'm cutting up. But as we exit tonight, men, tell us tonight one thing that to leave with the audience tonight, for the men and the women. What would you want us to know? One thing you want us to know about a man's heart. What would you like us to know about a man's heart? Tell us one thing. Come on, Swinton.
That we can be sensitive to. We can cry as well. We need a safe space to have a conversation with you and not feel like we're going to be beat upon, so to speak, once we tell you what's going on. We just need you to listen. Sit in the corner and listen.
Take notes. All right. Come on, just thank you for that. Appreciate it. Come on, Just.
I agree with what Brother E said. Like we are humans, and I think that it's important for us to see the humanity in each other. And then we also have to remember, especially in terms of a relationship, if you're dealing with somebody that loves you, understand that my expressing my hurt, my emotions is not an attack on you. It's an expression of my vulnerability.
That's good.
So if you view my vulnerability as an attack, you'll only get that opportunity one time. And I don't know, I as a man don't know how to open it back up. Shameless plug. Yeah. Courageous vulnerability. I don't know how to open it back up. So I think that, you know what I'm saying? I'm not saying it can't be opened back up. I'm just saying that, and this is for men and women. Hear your person's heart, and men can hear heart, and men do have heart, and not just a heart that allows them to go out and give their lives for someone, but men were equipped with the full scope of human emotions. Contrary to Eurocentric definition of stoicism, we are human. We are human. and so we experience the full scope of humanity. The responsibility that we have to have of it is
Okay, Justin done fell off. All right, hopefully he'll be back in a moment. He disappeared. E Moore.
Be patient with us. Be patient with my heart. And what I mean by that is this. In no way, shape, or form am I perfect, nor do I try to give off the impression that I'm perfect, right? What I do on a regularity is I put her before me, right? And anybody that I love and care, they know I put them first before me. I'm always the last to get anything, and I'm cool with that because that's how I am, right? But there's times, right, when I see me giving you what you tell me you need, as well as what you tell me you want. There's times that can be seen or be looked at as, well, you're not really there. You're this doll that I take out the closet and use every once in a while when it fits, when it fits me. So what I take from this, or what I want women to understand, is like, give us what we give you. And that's a double-sided sword sometimes. If you have a man out there who is willing to be patient with you, it's only right that you give that same energy back to your man. If your man has been patient with you and he's been showing you that he genuinely cares about you and the relationship, be willing to give that same energy back. It's like, the life we live in, right, and the life that we've been given is a very simple thing. We as people, we make things complicated for whatever reasons that we have. Insecurities, like jealousy, whatever, we make things complicated. So I told her this, and I'm gonna pass it off. I said, I'm not gonna promise you anything. Then I said, no, that's a lie. I'm gonna make one promise to you. I promise to try. That's it. And she took that and she ran with it. And she's happy with it. That makes it easy.
I love it. Justin, you fell off. So I wanted to give you opportunity to finish your statement before we get to Moose.
I was finishing, but what was the last thing y'all actually heard? You can hear me?
Yeah.
I said
You were breaking
I
up.
think I was finished, but what was the
Can
last thing?
can y'all hear him?
You're transforming.
I don't know
I think
what's
he was
going
talking
on.
about transforming.
I don't. Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Yes, we can hear you.
I'm good. I don't know what the heck. I don't know what's happening.
We can hear you now. Can you hear us?
Can you hear me now?
Can you hear us now? Yes.
I don't know.
Yep.
We can hear you. We can hear you.
Okay, for whatever reason I can't hear you, but I was done. I believe I said what I wanted to say. Let's just let's see each other. Another plug.
All right. Listen, I'm not mad at that.
If you're
I'm not
talking to
mad.
me, I can't hear you.
Okay. Gotcha. All right. Well, listen, guys. I want to thank y'all, of course, as always.
Hello?
For
I'm sorry.
it's good. Can you hear us? You still can't hear us?
Nope.
All right, so we're having technical difficulties on that side of the world, but I want to thank our panel tonight, Move Speed Strength, aka the Voice of God. I want to thank Justin AJW, Coach, Coach Mr. Courageous Vulnerability. I want to thank E. Moore, Mr. Without Warning Radio and Media. That's right, y'all. We're going to have to make sure that he lets us know how to connect. Welcome to the squad and the team. That's right. We kidnapped you when we're in the way out, just so you remember. All right. And of course, we want to thank Sir Eric for showing up on tonight. Thank you for being in the building. And my rider, my shotgun, my co-host, Coach Theo is in the building. Appreciate her jewels and gems she always shares. And of course, as always, I am your Thursday night host, Lady Dawn B. Always grateful that you decided to come spend this time with me and the squad. We hope the conversation has left you with some gems, some jewels, some nuggets that you can use to transform your life and be a greater blessing to those that you love. So, again, tune in next week, next Thursday night at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We'll be talking about when the vows break. Look for the promo and the link. We'll see you then. Push that thumbs up button, subscribe, and guess what? Have a great weekend. But don't forget about us. Tune in, bring a friend, and we will see you then. Good night, everyone.